Good afternoon, everybody. Katie Z here with the first PegNet weekly update of the new year and the new decade. And I'm joined here with David Johnston.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello. So if you caught the live recording earlier on the 2nd of January, we had some technical difficulties. The video did not save for whatever reason, and so we're re-recording this video so that way we can upload it to YouTube. So if you caught that and you notice that there's a little difference, that would be why, but we're going to try to cover the same grounds here. So with that said, I think last time we started kicking off with the new year. It's been 2 weeks since we've had an update with the holidays and everyone doing their holiday travels and family things, but a lot has been going on nonetheless in the background. And so, David, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So one of the things I noticed is we've seen a pretty big increase in the hash rate the last few weeks, especially this week. There's two big groups, Mining Center and a group that calls themselves F2 Pool, and they're both adding a lot of hash power to the network. So I think we're approaching 2 billion hash per second, which is a pretty substantive increase. I remember when we crossed 1 billion, and yeah, it looks like we're just short of 2 billion hash at this point. So that's great for network security. We want to continue to attract and recruit great miners, and we want more, right? You know, we won't just want a couple big players, but it'd be great to have 3, 4, 5, 6 big pools, all adding a lot of network security. So yeah, that's a good sign that people are excited about PegNet and putting real resources towards it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you're watching this video and you want to mine with your laptop or your computer, Prosper Pool is a great open source pool that they can join. And the link will be below on this video. So,
yeah, absolutely. And for a lot of people that are just using a laptop, Pool is a really easy way. They don't have to worry about buying entry credits or reporting prices. They can just point their computer's hash power towards the mining pool and get regular rewards. So Prosper Pool is all open source, and there's a lot of great tools there that make it easy to use, and a community on Discord.
yeah, and in our earlier chat, we were discussing too some of the progress with some community members are working on mobile developments and things like that. Do you want to touch on that?
Sure. That's the exciting thing to me is over the holidays, a couple of developers reached out about building more wallets. So right now we've got the wallet via the Chrome extension and web wallet, and that's great. And the teams that reached out are working more on mobile wallets. So these would be applications that people have on their phones. One is an existing wallet that would be adding pegged assets, and the other one is a dedicated mobile wallet for Factom assets, pegged assets, Factom asset protocol assets. So really sort of focused on our ecosystem and community. So anyway, that's great to see. It's what we need is these kind of ways to reach out and add more and more people, easy ways to get at their tokens. So this is, I think, something that's definitely worth pushing is now that we've got ERC20 versions of the pegged assets is getting into more of the wallets that support ERC20. So whether it's the Coinbase wallet or there's a ton of great Ethereum wallets out there, now it's as easy as adding an ERC20. And a lot of the wallets will let you do that manually as a user, but also a good opportunity to reach out to friends who might be running different wallets in the crypto ecosystem and get those added where the wallet developers have to add every new ERC20. So that'll be cool to see now that we've got ERC20 powers to get closer and closer to that side of the community.
And so the ERC20 wrapper, is that across the board with PegNet and all the pegged assets now and exchanges that all assets are ERC20 compatible?
So that's specific right now to IDEX. So IDEX is the first exchange that's using ERC20 wrapper versions of the pegged assets. So I think they've got all 30 assets now on IDEX. So literally any pegged asset you want, you can now buy on IDEX, and then you can withdraw it to your Ethereum wallet, whether you use my crypto wallet or my Ether wallet. All of those should work now with the ERC20 that they've got. So if you buy it on with IDEX, you can then withdraw it to an Ethereum exchange or an Ethereum wallet, or and vice versa. You could send it from a wallet back into IDEX. So there's a lot of work being done on that front. I think the developers are going to make an announcement fairly soon about sort of the next phase of this, which is where Ethereum signatures get added to the PegNet code itself. And then you'll see an easier ability where the PegNet wallets will all show those ERC20 assets. So you won't just be able to use an Ethereum wallet, though there are 40 million Ethereum addresses, a lot of people with Ethereum wallets. You won't be able to just see those assets on IDEX or on Ethereum wallet. You'll also be able to then see them inside the PegNet wallet. So I expect that's going to come in a few weeks. Talking to the developers, seems like most of the development is done. They're finishing testing, and hopefully we'll see an announcement about that soon. But that's sort of the next step for integrating further and further with Ethereum.
Yeah, and keeping top of mind, if you watch these weekly updates, we'll continue to provide updates and as progress, unfolds with these developments. But if you want that up to the minute, day to day, or to network in with some of the core developers, the best place to do that is in Discord. So the link will be below, but it's pegnet.org/chat, and that'll take you there. And then you'll see different channels for the multiple projects that are going on to get an understanding of what's being developed as well.
Yep. And I think over the holiday, it's probably worth mentioning, one of the developers, Stephen, was saying that there was a patch released for some of the miners. I know Prosper Pool and anybody using a pool is unaffected. But if you were using the old reference miner, definitely check out the details in Discord and you can see the updated patch. Make sure you've got the updated software and are mining correctly is always good. But that got pushed out a few days ago. Seems to have gone smoothly. Other than that, yeah, there's just so much going on. I was just talking on Discord with a group that's going to build a series of websites, sort of like charity-facing stuff, where people can put their hash power into a mining pool that's going to do all of the, let's say you want to donate to the Red Cross or, to some cancer treatment research or feeding, people in the developing world, et cetera, et cetera. That's, I think, going to be a really cool use case for PegNet because it's CPU mined. People can participate. And maybe it's not a huge return on an individual basis, but you can donate that work to any of these good causes and secure the network more and bring honest money to everybody in the world, I think is a pretty good cause in of itself. So that's exciting, but hopefully they'll roll those out quickly. I've been eager to see that happen.
Likewise, that's something I'm not shy to talk about that I'm really interested to see roll out. It's this difference between extrinsic and intrinsic motivations, and
Yep.
I'm just going to plant the seed here for anyone who's watching. I think it'd be really interesting to see different universities and foundations and things like that starting to understand the digital landscape of DeFi stablecoins, mineable stablecoins, and getting some of their ecosystems, to rally behind this promise of PegNet.
Sure. It's an easy way for them to get donations. And I think that's a great way to get it out there rather than trying to build it all ourselves. Let's make the tools and then partner with these existing communities that already have hundreds of thousands of people that want to do this type of stuff. It reminds me of, I don't know if you remember Folding at Home. It's a project out of Stanford that got real popular. About a couple of million people were doing it. I think at one point it was one of the more successful distributed computation projects. And they were using it for modeling protein folding for cancer treatments. And so, hey, why not point your computer at curing cancer? And that proved to be a popular use case. One of the larger distributed computation projects that I'm aware of. And so, I think we can do something similar here. And so, yeah, people know the right folks at Stanford or some of those institutions that have already sort of experimented with distributed compute. This is sort of just another play on that ends up with money versus providing the distributed compute directly.
And I think what is also really interesting too, and you see this time and time again, not just limited to blockchain or cryptocurrency, but the nature of open source and collaboration. And when you get all of these minds together behind something where real, true innovation, something of real value can be built. And St. Jude is an example of that. You know, all of their research is open source, and they're one of the most I would say successful cancer research institutions because of the open source nature. And that's what PegNet is kind of embodying here as we're growing as well. Not sort of, we are. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. So what else happened over the holidays? PegNet, the 12 days of PegNet, that was great. Got more people joining the community on Twitter. I think we were highlighting a lot of those new listings on IDEX. And yeah, it's just exciting to see the momentum building. So that's really cool. Thanks for putting that out there, Katie. It's been good to spread the word. So
I don't know if you're the secret Santa or who the secret Santa behind the 12 days of PegNet was.
Who knows?
But whoever that was, you know, there were a number of questions where folks would ask. I thought that this was a decentralized project with no foundation. How are you doing this? And it's truly off the backs of generous community members. And so
Sure.
Certainly thank you to them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, a lot of people have stepped forward to donate to developers. That's one of the things I really like about the direction the community is taking is I put that sheet out about, okay, developers and proposals for different improvements, and here's an address you can donate to. And there's been a huge influx of donations. Millions of PEG have already been donated to the developers on that list. So thank you to the community for making those donations. That's really cool. And it's really sparking sort of this culture where we want to reward people that are building on this technology and a part of this community. And so I think that's one of the biggest keys to success going forward is saying developers jump into PegNet. You're welcome here. People want to hear your ideas. There are people willing to donate to them and get them developed quickly. So yeah, join the fun. There's a lot of resources there to build this out.
Very cool. So the link also for the PegNet improvement proposals will be below on this video. So if you're interested to find out more about that, all of the full information will be there. David, what have you seen since publishing the PIPS article?
A lot of it's been infrastructure, right? So people creating libraries and APIs in new languages like Rust, which makes it PegNet more accessible to other developers. But we've also seen people that want to create or improve the websites. The user interface has improved a lot for pegnet.org and for Factoshi, thanks to those guys for all the statistics that they provide. And so there's a ton of work being done by folks like Pearly and those guys that have done a lot of the graphics that explain how the arbitrage works, how the system functions. You know, I put out a lot of their content as part of my Medium updates, and I don't get the credit for that. I am not the great artist. You know, it's guys like Pearly and others that are doing that, or guys like Hema CEO on Discord that are managing pegged.network, which has all the different translations of the different language versions of the PegNet presentation. And so, yeah, all of that cumulatively, it's been really cool to see people sort of take up whatever they're good at and use it as an improvement proposal, whether it's for the infrastructure itself or the surrounding websites. So, yeah, I have not seen many projects that are moving this quickly. So it's sort of refreshing to be able to just make ideas happen without a lot of bureaucracy, with a lot of sort of long history. It's still a very new project, and so we have a lot of flexibility right now. And that's a fun phase to be in.
Absolutely. And if we have I think an AMA coming up tomorrow with a community that's primarily out of India. And I think that's interesting too, is the Indian rupee, or the pegged Indian rupee, was just listed onto IDEX as well. So a lot of this is a giant social experiment in ways, you know, with all of these pegged fiats. and,
Mhm.
and what the behaviors and interactions are going to be. I'd be curious to keep up on that AMA tomorrow. I don't know if you have any insight to questions that have been asked.
I mean, it's going to be interesting. Effectively, with every different currency, we can access another national community, right? Whether they want to hold Indian rupee probably depends if they're paying people in Indian rupee and have contracts in Indian rupee, and it's their lingua franca for how they denominate their money. Then there's a lot of value there, and so I think yeah, there's a lot more we can do now that all the pegged assets are available on an exchange, especially one as well used as IDEX. They've got, I think, the largest volumes, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to DEXing and decentralized exchanges in general. I know they just saw one of their tweets was showing exactly the different volumes, and they have the highest volumes when it comes to decentralized exchange volumes going around today. So yeah, I think with all of that, we sort of have so much space and ways that we can go around and talk to people as each of those assets are available.
Absolutely. Speaking of talking to people, you will be talking to those going around at Davos at the World Economic Forum later this month in
Mhm.
Switzerland.
Yep.
Um, I think, each year has its theme in blockchain and cryptocurrency. One year it was the ICO and fundraising, and then one year it was stable coins. If you just look into this industry and the trends, make no mistake, DeFi is taking all the headlines,
Yep.
and decentralized stablecoins is certainly very interesting. Um, what what are you looking forward to or getting out of Davos? What do you think will be the conversations this year?
Well, I really enjoyed it. Went the first time last year, and it was sort of just a different group of people than I would typically see on the crypto roadshow at the different conferences around the world. And so it was good to meet people that are interested in finance and technology, but aren't as savvy on blockchain necessarily. Though there's a good number of blockchain events not on the main stage. The big tip is you don't want to go to the main conference. Like, if you're not a politician or a big corporation, like that's where they're schmoozing. All the interesting entrepreneurial stuff is happening on this promenade where they've got all the houses and storefronts converted into different event venues during World Economic Forum. So it's like a whole week. It's sort of the same thing as South by, right? You don't go to South by, you go to the 1,000 events around South by when you come to Austin every spring, right? So it's the same kind of deal in Davos. So that's what I'd really recommend to people. I'll be in St. Moritz the 14th to the 18th. And then in Davos, I believe it's the 23rd, is the Crypto Valley Summit. So this is put on by CVVC, the Crypto Valley Venture Capital Group. And they've got a lot of content that they've lined up. So I'll be speaking there. St. Moritz is more like investors, and the Davos event is more sort of general for entrepreneurs and people in the industry and stuff like that. So if you're at either one, just reach out. I'd love to hang out. I'll be there the whole week.
It would be cool to have a meetup out there.
I like the sound of that. Yeah, if somebody wants to organize that, that would be
Yeah, absolutely. So then take David's word for it, and I have plenty of experience with these kinds of events. Don't worry about the ticket price, worry about your train ticket or whatever it is, mode of transportation to get to the city, and just network in. There's so much value. I wish I could be there, but
well, you'll be enjoying the hot southern climate while I'm up in the Alps. But,
yeah, it's not so bad here in Miami.
a little beach, not bad.
No, not at all. Let's see, is there any other topics that we've missed that we should cover in this update?
No, I think that's great. Watching the hash power grow, watching all the development being done. I think we've got a huge amount of momentum for 2020. So I think everything will get back in the swing of things probably next week as everybody comes back from the holiday. People are still kind of out doing the New Year's thing yesterday. So, look forward to catching everybody soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that this is an important year for PegNet, and it's going to be really exciting. So thank you everyone who stays with us, supports us as a community, not David and myself, but as PegNet. We appreciate you and we need you and we thank you.
All right. Take care. See you guys.
Bye-bye, everyone.